Hey, good morning, everybody. So it's Sunday morning, and I'm sitting here just chilling. We came into Pilot Rock last night. We parked the toy hauler here at a friend's house, and we're gonna kind of strip it from what we were expecting, massive backpacking and going down into the 6,000 range. Even some of the goats that we saw were down in the 58, 55. But so we get everything gutted pretty much as best we can, and then we'll come back probably in a weekend or so, and we'll move the toy hauler over to Umatilla, where we spend a lot of the winter for the duck and goose season. My dad and the owner, Bob, they went up on the hill. Bob owns a lot of property up top where him and his family elk hunt and deer hunt up there. So, you know, as much as you prep, spinning, it's different with a goat, different with the cape, the trophy cape. I wasn't that far off of Boone and Crockett scoring. It'd be nice to have a professional view it, whatever the size. I love it. You know, nobody told me to shoot. All the classes said take your time, and I actually thought he was a nanny. We couldn't identify him. We couldn't see, you know, things hanging. You know, we hadn't seen enough to really go, yeah, that's a billy, and then yes, that's a big one, and he didn't have, you know, patch on his butt, and we just had a hard time identifying him. And this kid Devin, the other goat hunter he's out of Burns, Oregon. He'd been there since last Tuesday, and he'd seen 10 or 12 goats. He's hiked all the way down in the bottom, and he's come back up, and he saw that goat. We were out there glassing, and that goat came out, and he goes, oh yeah, that's a nice billy, you know, there's a billy, and he's going up, and you know, he's younger than us, so he's probably mid-30s, so, and he was really nice. He went down the bottom of the hill and was looking at another one that I'd spotted the night before, and that goat went from 500 plus some yards, came up on top on this point where the salt lick was, and I glassed him at 196, and I had my rifle on him, and I thought, well, you know, nobody shoots the first day, you know, so I didn't even have my gun loaded. I still had the shells in the box, and I had it in the scabbard. So Dad will probably tell you I wasn't even planning on taking my gun, because I had heard, you know, everyone said be patient, see lots of goats, and this kid Devin, he came back up the hill, and this goat, he had moved way off the point. Dad and I watched him for about 45 minutes, and he moved way off the point, and I told Dad, let's go over and move on that point. Maybe he's just over the hill. We can get a better idea of him. We need to practice, you know, glassing him and looking at him and trying to identify him of the rings that are on for the years, which I couldn't see anyways. And even this kid Devin had a Savorsky, and even though I've got the goat down in front of me, I still can't see the rings that these people are talking about. So, you know, there's clearly that was just one of the things I was praying for, that, you know, Lord, we need some help. And I was praying the night before about going down in the hole. I was prepared for it. It just, my knee was hurting. Dad, you know, Dad had a trick ankle going on, and it just, you get prepared for it, you get in the mindset of it, but ultimately, anyway, so Devin says, listen, I've seen 10, 12 goats. That's a shooter. If you don't want it, and he had a bow. He was going to shoot. I had my bow up there too. I had it back at camp. I wasn't expecting to shoot anything the first day. So he said, you should take that. You don't have to go down the hill. He's up on top. He's a quarter of a mile away from the rhino. There's a nice walking trail. I mean, for you guys, this is perfect. Which, when he says you guys, you gotta wonder, he's probably thinking older, fat people, out of shape, not hikers, you know, to go up on top, to not go down in this ravine. And I'm thinking, thank you, Lord, this guy knows exactly what I'm looking for. He's right on the same page. So that's a nice billy. And he goes, come on, let's go over here. And so we walked over to the point where now we're at, I think we're about 120 yards away from this billy, and he started coming back up the hill from where he was, wherever he was, and he came up on top and he laid down. And so Devin got out his Swarovski, I call them Swarovskis, I know that's the wrong wording, but brought out his scope. I had my Vortex 80 power right next to his, same powers, and I looked at his, and those Swarovskis were night and day difference. My Vortex, I'm going to sell them, but those Swarovskis, wow. I mean, you could see everything, face, clarity, it was bright. It was such a difference. And like 4 times the amount of my spotting scope, but wow. I mean, you could see it. And he's like, oh yeah, I can count the rings. And okay, so we're gonna start our stock now. He's laying down, he's eyeballing us, Dad's behind us, I got the camera, we head out and we move up closer. We get about 70 yards, 65, 70 yards. And we're on this ridge and we're looking at him, and he's looking right at us. He's bedded down, and we're talking about, you know, where the shoulder is. They've got so much hair. It's just fluff on top. It's like that much is just fluff. In October, their coats are really thick. They're really white. They're just a big cotton ball, as Nick called it. So we're looking at it, and I'm thinking, I've got my 300 Win mag, and I've sighted in at 200 yards 0, and now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I plan on, you know, 200. I bought that new scope, the loopholed 4 by 24 by 52, and I figured, you know, 4 to 24 by 52, I figured I'm gonna have to make this, you know, 500, 600 longer shot, you know, new trigger, Timmy trigger in my Winchester Model 70, shooting my 300 mag, 165 grain Barnes, polymer tip. And so, and here I'm gonna harvest my goat under 100 yards. And so I almost, if Devin, his other bow was a Rain 7, and I was asking him, you know, if you had a Rain 7 on your back and it was left-handed, I'd be borrowing your bow right now. But so Dad stayed there and was videoing it. We do have the shot on video, on another video. And so Devin and I walked up, and we got within, we were about 50 yards looking through the trees at him, and Devin goes, oh yeah, I'm counting the rings, Dan. He's at least a 4.5-year-old. He's a good body, good size, you know, horns look great. He's probably in the 9.5 inch range, which Devin measured him at 9.5. And he says, that's a mature. So he said, we'll walk up here a little ways, and there's a spot in these trees. We'll come around the corner, and when we do, you should be about 30 yards, 28, 27 yards away, 25 maybe. And he'll stand up. And when he stands up, you know, you got to hit him right in the shoulder and just buckle him. And so okay, so at that point, I did have shells in the gun, but at that point I had to, you know, jack it out, and then actually jacked the shell in, put the safety on, and we started walking up. And as we got closer, and I took the safety off, I was convinced I was gonna go after him. And we came around this tree, and Devin held back, and I walked around, got my gun ready, and creeped around this tree. And as soon as I creeped around this tree, I bring the scope up, and he stands up, and he just didn't stand up and stand there like a doe, you know, like, and he just stood up and he turned and looked like he was gonna drop off this ledge. And he took a couple of steps, and he stood there, and I'm holding on him right at my point, and then he turns and he starts heading towards this other point, and he had come up from that side of the ridge. So I was thinking, and that was the steepest point, and so he took 2 steps heading for that point, and I put it right on the shoulder, squeeze the trigger, and just pop, and he dropped. And I could hear Devin right before I shot. I could hear Devin, "Oh no," you know, because he's going towards the cliff. And so I just boom, you know, and he drops, and then Devin in the back going, "Nice shot. Now grab him," because he's kicking. And so, you know, it's probably nerves, but he's kicking. So we run up, and we grab this billy. I grab a hold of one leg, his left leg, his right rear is kicking me in the shins. I've got my rifle in one hand, and so Devin's like, "Here, give me your rifle." So he takes my rifle, and I grab both his legs, and I drag him, you know, farther away, and then this rock was stopping me, and so I'm holding him, and it's just like this. I mean, it's just a violent going on. This thing is just kicking me back, and then Devin goes and sets my rifle down and comes back, and then we bring him up, and we hold him, and we just and that was it. We just made the shot. We got the goat down. We're in the tagging process. Dad was still in the back, so Dad's coming up, and all the while, the biggest thing going through my head is how much the Lord answered my prayers. There's just so many things that I had been praying about and concerned about, and he just, you know, I was prepared to, I wasn't worried about the size of the horn, you know, Boone and Crockett, you know. Someone asked me one time, well, you know, you got to get your name in the book, the record books, you know, you got to, once in a lifetime, you got to get your name in the record books. And I'm thinking, well, my name is in the book of life. That's the only record book I know of, you know. So I really wasn't concerned. I got to shoot this monster, and you know, I wanted a good goat. I wanted a mature billy. I wanted it to be. I wanted it one shot. I didn't want to. I'd seen plenty of videos of how these things roll, or they fly off, or, you know, I didn't want to lose the meat or destroy the cape, or, you know, lose a horn, or I didn't want to shoot a nanny. Fortunately, there's quite a few nannies that were killed this year, and there's so many. You shoot a female in a nanny in the herds, and it stunts the growth, the birth rate of the growth of that herd by 5 years, and it just. Better conservation to take a billy. Once I heard about it, I was like, well, okay, the guys are expendable. You shoot a billy, herd will replace the billy next year. Go figure. But, you know, they shoot the nanny, it totally disrupts the whole family for 4 or 5 years. So, you know, shot a mature billy. Just so many things. I prayed for safety for Dad and I. I prayed that we'd be able to have a good identification, or that the Lord would bring in someone that could identify the billy properly, because I know Dad and I were struggling. You know, just the terrain, that when I did get a billy down, it'd be in a safe terrain for Dad and I to harvest it, to where we'd be able to. I'm not a fan of boning out, and I like taking as much meat as I can. I do. I take the heart, the liver, and I try to, you know, take as much up, and I don't like throwing away meat. That's just my mentality. So, and here I shot him, you know, a quarter of a mile away from our camp, or from the rhino, and the Nick that I got in touch with through Rick Young's Outdoors, he showed up after I shot. Him and his wife and their dog Buddy came up, and they came up, and they're like, "Hey, we got a text from your dad. We came up here to spot goats for you, and I spotted a really nice one down in the bottom, but this one's bigger." Oh. So he stayed with us out on the field. We got, you know, a lot of the hide prepped. So many things to be thankful for. The Lord just, I cannot stress this enough. I asked for just small, to me, what I would think are small little things. And the Lord answered my prayer with as far as the east to the west. I mean, they're just above and beyond. My cup is running over, folks. I mean, it's exciting. It's a rush to see those things, and we glassed them the night before that were 2,000 yards away. They were down the shale rock. I was thinking, oh my gosh, what are we getting ourselves into? Lord took care of all that. He provided a goat hunter that I asked Devin, why'd you come back? And he says, well, a voice inside told me go help those guys get a goat. And here's what I can tell you most about. Now, I've been duck hunting, deer hunting. I've done all everything, but there's a few things I still would like to go after: moose, caribou, all that. But okay, so now I'm moving into. I want to talk to you about the fraternity. Ever since I got exposed to this goat hunt and the people involved in this goat hunt, I can tell you it's nothing like any deer, elk, duck, or goose club hunting that I've ever been on. It is, one of the guides out of Myrtle Creek told me, John, he said, welcome to the fraternity. Because these breed of hunters that go after, get the once in a lifetime hunts for the goats and for the sheeps, it's a total different mentality. Deer and elk hunting, hey, where do you think a great deer hunt place is? Well, it's on No Tell 'em Ridge, or None Your Business. I mean, it's just a evasiveness or rudeness, none your business, go find your own spot. Not like these guys. These guys, I've met people from all over Oregon that, and even guides. That one guide, I flat out told him, I can't afford you, and he says, okay, so get out and at the orientation, okay, you got your map? Yeah, okay, you should check here, check here, check here. Everybody associated with the goat and sheep, they want you to be successful. It is a helper mentality, and one that that's probably I'm most privileged to be a part of, and I'll continue. Anyone that gets a goat in Oregon and gets into my area, the Hat Point Unit number 2 in October, that wants some help, call me up, email me. I'll be glad to help you out, give you any kind of information or ideas. Or I got a bunch of backpacking stuff that I bought prepping to go down on the bottom that I didn't use, so that'll probably be on OfferUp, or just sell it. So, but it's what a unique group of people that I've been exposed to, and friendships. One of the guys in the goat, that you get a free membership the first years, as a welcoming, and one that I'm going to continue. But one of them, I'd met him years before because he bought one of my puppies. So he knew who I was. And he's like, hey, congratulations. I mean, you got this tag. And so, yeah, it's pretty, I got a goat tag. And you know what? I'll be honest with you, folks. I mean, I've been putting in for this tag since I was 18. And I figured I always figure this tag, I always question every year, why are we putting in for a goat tag? I always ask my dad, why are we putting in for a goat tag or a big one? We're never going to get it. We're never going to see it, And for the life of me, I didn't realize that goats were this big. I kind of was like my boss. I thought they were, farm billy goat out there. But I didn't realize the severity or the extreme that these animals are beautiful. They're majestic. They climb up. I watched one in Heppner that climbed up 80 feet up this rock just to stand on this ledge. It's not bigger than the table that I'm doing this video on, little 2x3 table, and yet he's standing up there 100 feet off the deck, wind's blowing about 8 miles an hour, and he's just enjoying the day. Wow, God made these creatures to perfection as well as all the rest. So I'm biased when I talk about creatures because I know they were created. So, but I'd like to get I'm afraid now I have to get my bighorn sheep. I'd like to go back in that area, and at least I'd like to go back and go hiking in that country, Hell's Canyon. I'd like to fly over. That's the only thing that we didn't get to do. I'd like to find a pilot to fly my dad and I over Hell's Canyon and just view it from its vastness. Maybe go on a boat trip. Find a jet boat guide and go up and down the river just to view it from the lower end side of things. But all right,